Imagine a message so powerful, so world-changing, that it literally splits a society in two. A message that's met not with open minds, but with pure sarcasm and dismissal. We're about to dive into a really potent warning from over 1400 years ago, and it all kicked off with one simple but totally loaded question.
So this is the opening line. And you have to understand, it's not just a question, it's setting a scene. You can almost picture it, right? A busy city, people whispering in corners, arguing, even laughing about this new, radical idea that's spreading. The question just hangs in the air, and it's the perfect setup for a divine response.
Because that question, what are they asking about? It wasn't just idle curiosity. No, it was a symptom of a really deep disagreement that was cutting right through the heart of their society. It pointed to a major conflict.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in 7th century Mecca. The Prophet Muhammad has started sharing his message, and the Quraysh, the most powerful tribe in the city, aren't just skeptical, they're openly mocking him. You can just hear them joking with each other, sarcastically asking, so wait, he really thinks we're going to be brought back to life after we're just dust and bones?
And what were they arguing about? Well, it wasn't just one thing. They were rejecting the whole package. The idea of resurrection, they thought it was impossible. The prophethood of a man they grew up with, they questioned it. And the Quran itself, they just dismissed it. This was a complete and total rejection of an entirely new way of seeing the world.
So, what was this great news that they just couldn't wrap their heads around? Let's break down the term that's right at the center of this whole dispute.
The term used here is Naba il-Adim, and this is such a powerful phrase. The Arabic word Naba isn't just news like what you see on TV. It implies news of incredible importance, something that's absolutely certain. It's the kind of news that you don't just hear, you have to reckon with it.
Now, what's interesting is that scholars have a couple of main interpretations here. Some say the great news is talking specifically about the day of resurrection, the ultimate event. Others believe it's actually referring to the Quran itself, the divine message that contains the news of that day. But honestly, either way you look at it, it points to a foundational truth that the disbelievers were just flat out rejecting. So, in response to all this mockery, all this arguing and questioning, the whole tone of the revelation just shifts dramatically. The time for discussion is clearly over, and what comes next is a very decisive warning.
And it comes in a single, incredibly powerful word, Qala. Now, this is not a simple no. It is an absolute forceful rebuke. It's a word you use to just stop a ridiculous, nonsensical conversation dead in its tracks. It's like a verbal stop sign, basically saying enough of this nonsense.
And right after that powerful shutdown comes this promise, or maybe it's more of a threat. They are going to know. The implication here is so stark. All this confidence they have in their disbelief, it's temporary. A time is coming when the truth will be completely undeniable.
And then, just in case anyone missed how serious this is, it's repeated. Then, no, they are going to know. The source makes it clear this isn't just for poetic flair. The repetition is there for one reason, emphasis, to hammer home the absolute, inescapable certainty of what's coming. The argument is over. Reality is about to take over.
Okay, so you might be thinking, that was 1400 years ago. What does it have to do with me? Well, this exchange isn't just a history lesson. It has some startlingly direct echoes in our world today.
I mean, just look at the parallels. Mocking the resurrection back then has turned into just trivializing the whole idea of the hereafter today. Their sarcastic jesting has become the endless spread of doubt on social media. And their disdainful arguments? Well, those are the endless, pointless online debates we get stuck in every single day. The technology has changed, but that core attitude of just being distracted and heedless, it's still here.
The source nails it when it says the biggest obstacle we face is this environment of heedlessness. Think about it. We get so completely wrapped up in what it calls the small news, politics, sports, money, drama, that these things become our great news. They're what we talk about, what we get emotional about, while the actual great news just fades into the background.
So, given that we're living in this constant state of distraction, how do we actually apply the lesson from these verses? How do we avoid falling into that same trap?
Well, the source actually lays out a pretty clear three-step path. First, just stop with the pointless arguments. If a debate isn't about finding truth, let it go. Second, approach divine commands with humility, with an attitude of we hear and we obey, instead of constantly questioning. And third, actively work to make the hereafter a real presence in your mind.
Connect what happens in the world back to that ultimate reality.
And the ultimate goal here, it's really profound. This isn't just about changing your behavior. It's about a deep internal transformation. The whole point is to cultivate something called yaqeen, which means a state of absolute, rock-solid certainty in your heart. It's about moving from that shaky ground of doubt to a place of unwavering belief.
And that brings us to this final thought, a quote that just perfectly sums up this entire message. The world is a place of questions. The hereafter is the place of answers. All the arguments, the doubts, the mockery, that all belongs to this life. But the great news is a warning that a time is coming when every single question will be answered, replaced by an absolute, undeniable reality. The only question left is, will we figure that out before it's too late?